Hello, Magnus here, and today I choose between the Canon 5D Mark IV, Samsung NX1, and Panasonic GH5 as which is my best all-around, well-rounded camera to go to. Here it is. Alright, now when talking about the camera that I go to, I look at several features, and I'm not going to say that I choose this camera every time that I want to use a camera. To me, I choose my cameras based on the situation. If I'm going to do pictures and I'm going to take mostly pictures, barely any video, I'm going to take my Canon 5D Mark IV. If I'm looking to do mostly video, specifically when I'm walking around a lot and kind of vlog style or whatnot, I'm going to take the GH5. But when it comes to a situation where I need to take pictures and video and not carry a lot of camera bodies with me, I've got to be honest, it's going to be the Samsung NX1. The NX1 takes incredible pictures, 28 megapixel camera, when compared to the Canon's 5D Mark IV's 30 megapixels and the GH5's just over 20 megapixels. What do I choose? It comes to a lot of factors, and what woke me up to this fact is actually one of the recent videos I did, and looking at everything that I've done thus far with these cameras and testing them, because you guys know that I've tested the hell out of these cameras, and each one has its pros and its cons, and that's what's led me to use different cameras for different scenarios. However, being reminded to the fact that the style of videos that I choose, and when it comes to this opinion, it doesn't apply to everyone. Everyone's got their own style of shooting and what works best for them. Now, this is what I'm telling you, at least of right now. In the future, I believe it will change. But as of right now, for what I film, when it comes to what I need it for, it seems that this 2-year-old camera, Samsung NX1, gives me what I need in a more versatile, well-rounded camera. Now, here's what's important to me when I film. 5D Mark IV is great for pictures, right? So I'm going to take that and take amazing pictures when I take that. But when comparing the three, the NX1 comes in a decent second place. The NX1 takes amazing, high-resolution pictures that just really pop out at you when you use that camera for photography. And I can tell you that I'm pretty confident with that camera to take very detailed pictures with nice colors and pretty much nice picture files when I use the NX1. GH5, as most know, it may be designed like a picture camera, but it's definitely for video. And there's no question about it. You ask anyone in the industry, GH5 is designed for video. So let's flip that. Let's go back to videos. Now, when you're thinking about videos, I mean, GH5 is usually the main camera that you can rely on for most situations, especially when you're using manual focus and just going for whatever shot you want to take. GH5 is reliable with so many features. But then there's that balance. For me personally, I choose image quality and color and image stabilization and focus. All of those features are very important to me, and I've got to say that the NX1 has incredible autofocus that quite honestly beats the GH5 bar none. The colors, I'm able to get them right a lot easier on the NX1 than the GH5. When setting, for example, auto white balance on each of those cameras, I believe that the NX1 actually does a better job at that. Now, the NX1 does not have log profile, so to get that deeper dynamic range, you're actually going to get that out of the GH5. Like I said, each camera has its pros and cons, but the balance on this camera is pretty amazing. Now, the image stabilization on the GH5, NX1 is not going to beat that. However, it does have image stabilization in their lenses, and although not as good, digital image stabilization. So it gives you an option. So when you turn that on, the image quality and the stabilization that you have is not as good as this GH5, but it's not bad. So you could rely on it for run and gun, photos, amazing image quality, 4K, none to mention, with a great compression file with the H.265 file format, so you can use slower cards and all around better image quality. Want to see what I'm talking about? Okay, right now you're looking at me using the 5D Mark IV. Nice clean image, decent colors, nothing wrong with that. And now, here's the NX1. NX1, you're looking at me right now as I sit down in this chair, and it's got a sharper image. And I'm not even looking at the post-production footage yet, but I guarantee you, I'm in focus, and I've got a sharper image than the 5D Mark IV. Great autofocus on this camera, so why complain, right? I'm not shooting high frame rate films, but when I am, this camera can do a higher frame rate and a higher resolution than the 5D Mark IV. Now let's compare the footage as I'm sitting right in front of the computer. So I recorded this memory card fail episode, and I had several camera angles using 5D Mark IV, 6D, whatnot. Let's look at the 5D Mark IV footage that I had. Now, as you can see, in this 5D Mark IV footage, nice clean shot, right? I'm in front of the green screen, and nothing wrong here. Now, we're going to compare this footage to what the NX1 shot. And the NX1, granted, this was a more a sit-down perspective, but this angle had, it's pretty hard to tell, I'm sure, with YouTube compression, but I'm a lot sharper, tack sharp focus, and of course the focus moved as I moved my hands in front of the camera, because it picks up pretty much anything that's in front of it, which could actually be convenient when you're in front of the camera, but I was pretty tack sharp. And another thing that I mentioned is that, like I said, I was in a wedding recently, and white balance is a thing that kind of gets on my nerves. I had this camera set on automatic white balance in this church, and one thing that I did not like is in this shot, the colors seem very green shifted and unnatural using automatic white balance. Now, I did some color correction to fix most of this, and the image looks flat because I was shooting a log profile, but even when editing the log format, it just was unpleasant. Now, when I go to the Canon 6D, which I shot in the church, a little bit of footage in the church, automatic white balance here as well. Again, I was a guest, I was not shooting professionally, and you know, I had multiple cameras in hand, 5D Mark IV, 6D, and the GH5. Even the automatic white balance just seemed to work better on the Canon, whereas I couldn't trust the GH5. Now, when it comes to the GH5, it's an amazing camera for, you know, basically, you know, mostly video shooting and running and gunning. And once I set the features right and I had more control of the color and everything that I want to do with the GH5 and set it to manual focus, the 5D Mark IV and the NX1 are not going to touch its quality. Not arguing that fact. Again, this is just a comparison of the overall quality of all three cameras and which one I can just take. If I had one camera to take with me to do what I need to do in a quick format, it's going to be the NX1. I can just get what I need to do done with that camera. Again, this opinion is just an opinion piece. All three of these cameras I absolutely love. As you saw in one of my previous episodes where I talk about what I was going to take with the wedding, I didn't even take the NX1. And that's because I was planning on different types of shots using different cameras. And those cameras' strengths outweigh that of the NX1 when you choose it selectively. But as a whole, if I were to take one camera, I would take the NX1. I did a little overkill with that wedding, so I shouldn't have taken so much, but maybe I should have. Again, I was planning the shots accordingly, and I used my other cameras. But all in all, NX1 is the best well-rounded camera that I have. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I'm sure I'm going to get plenty of hate. I'd like to finish this off with basically saying that I do work for Samsung. So if you feel that I'm showing bias to that camera just because I work for the company, fine. You know, you're entitled to your opinion, but I feel that it's my responsibility to let you know where my opinion is coming from, which is honest opinion. However, you have to take into consideration that I do work for the company, and do with it what you will. As usual, leave your comments, follow my Twitter right there, and as always, you can make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and I'm out. See you guys later.